Also, I'd like to take just a moment and give you the rules for debate, at least this debate in particular. I think most of them would go without saying, but nonetheless we do want to read them. They're very brief. The first two nights of the discussion, September 4 and 5, will be hosted by the 32nd Street Church of Christ in Paducah, Kentucky. The last two nights of the debate, September 7 and 8, will be hosted by the Church of Christ on Highway 45, Metropolis, Illinois. Brother Sutton will affirm Proposition 1 during the first two nights, while Brother Merideth denies. Brother Merideth will affirm Propositions 2 during the final two nights, while Brother Sutton denies. And this is where I want to especially give you this, because some are not aware of it. The schedule for this discussion is as follows. There will be two 30-minute presentations made. After these two presentations, there will be a brief, approximately a 10-minute intermission. Get a drink of water, go to the restroom or whatever. Then there will be two 20-minute discussions, or two 20-minute speeches, and these will be followed by two 10-minute speeches. Each speaker may submit 5 written questions each evening. These questions must be presented to his opponent at least 10 minutes prior to the session. Although participants are not obligated to respond to these questions until they are introduced orally by his opponent. No new material is to be presented in the final negative speech of either proposition. Of course, I think that's the reasoning for that is quite obvious. You introduce new material, the other man has no opportunity to refute or to give a rebuttal, and that certainly would not be in the interest of fairness. And the rule most important to the listening audience, there is to be no demonstration for or against. Brother Sutton and Brother Merideth will do their own pushing the issues, and that's as it should be. But let's try to hold down and I don't think we'd have a problem with clapping, as in some debates, but any oral or otherwise demonstrations either for or against what a man is saying. If you agree with what they're saying, wait till it's over. You can go pat them on the back and tell them they did a fine job. Or if you disagree, I don't think either of them would mind at all if you go to them in the right spirit and say, I don't agree with what you said. But do want to maintain the same spirit of kindness that we've had the first two nights. We appreciate the hospitality of Brother Madrigal and the brethren at 32nd Street. They treated us as kindly as we could hope. And I hope that our hospitality will be equally cordial tonight and tomorrow night. Brother Sutton's moderator is Brother Hiram Hutto. And I'm sorry, but I don't know where Brother Hutto is from.
Athens, Alabama.
Athens, Alabama. Well, I like you. Anybody from Alabama can't be all bad. That's my old stomping grounds. Brother Meredith's moderator is W.C. Anderson, who's no stranger to our midst. And we appreciate the work that both of these men are doing, although they know how to do anything. The order's been kept without the need of moderators, and we're grateful for that. We're going to open the discussion this evening by singing one verse of number 5. Is that the right number, Robert? Brother Robert Lambert, who is the son-in-law of Brother Meredith, will lead us in this song. And we're going to ask one of our visitors, who is no stranger, Brother Robert Taylor, Jr. We're going to ask Brother Taylor if he would to word our opening prayer after the singing of a verse of number 5. And then we'll call on someone for a dismissal prayer at the conclusion of this. Also, one final announcement. I was told to mention that video and audio tapes are available of each evening of the discussion. If you're interested in the VCR cassettes, you can see Brother James Harris up here on the corner behind the camera. We appreciate Brother Harris coming from Murray to tape this for us. He does a lot of taping of lectures, debates, and things. He and his fine wife are here with us. And they are speaking. If you wonder why she's at one end of the bench and he's at this end, she didn't like the fan, and he's got to sit behind the camera. But we're delighted to have them and appreciate the work they're doing. If you're interested in the cassette tapes, you can see Brother Ray Madrigal or myself, and we will see that you get those. All right, if nothing further, we'll turn the service over to Brother Robert, and then we will get right into the presentations.
Number 5. Worthy of praise.
Brother Sutton, gentlemen moderators, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege for me to be here tonight and to participate in this discussion. The proposition that I'll be defending tonight is as follows. The Scriptures teach that churches of Christ may build and maintain benevolent organizations such as Boles Orphans Home, Tennessee Orphan Home, Childhaven, and Home for the Aged for the care of the needy. By the Scriptures, we mean the Word of God, the Bible. There are 66 books in the Bible, and we, of course, are under the New Covenant. By teach, I mean to impart knowledge, and the Bible, of course, teaches, stated in three areas, by command, example, and necessary inference. To state the same thing in two areas, it teaches by direct statement and it teaches by implication. By churches of Christ, we mean the body of Christ, the Lord's people. By build and maintain, we need to organize, to establish, to support, and take care of. By the benevolent institutions like Childhaven, we mean child care institutions that are licensed, that are chartered, and that are incorporated. For the care of the needy, we mean to provide for the needs of the orphans and the widows. First of all, I'd like to read the questions that we've already submitted to Brother Sutton. Number one, does James 1:27 apply to the church? Number two, can the church function as a home? Number three, does Galatians 6:10 apply to the church? Number four, do you believe the church could buy fertilizer for the preacher's yard but could not take a dime from the treasury for a non-saint orphan? And number five, do you believe 2 John 9 applies to the church? First of all, I'd like to set out just briefly again some historical matters as we've done each time. For years, most brethren believed that it was scriptural and right to build and maintain orphan homes, benevolent institutions. I have here before me the Boles Orphans Home magazine dated June 1927, and a well-known preacher among these brethren was Roy Cogdell. And Brother Roy Cogdell said, "Our orphan home work today is progressing splendidly because of the vision that some have had. Churches are taking part in it because they have the proper vision of church work. Churches that have no part in this great work and similar works lack a proper vision of the mission of the Church of God. This part of the mission of the church is by means many times an end for the cause." I have here also a statement by a well-known editor, Fanning Yater Tant, in which he commends Maud Carpenter Children's Home, and a statement in the Gospel Guardian for November 24, 1949, in which a well-known writer, Brother Homer Haley, endorses the good work done by the Children's Home. But then there began to be opposition to the orphan homes, and in the Gospel Guardian for October the 18th, 1951, the die was cast. Fanning Yater Tant said, "We are committed to battle, and that without restraint, yes, even to the point of division." And because of the battles that have been carried on, we have the present situation as it exists tonight. I would like to now introduce my first argument. If we could have the overhead projector on. This is our basic argument. First of all, if it is the case that, number one, the needs of orphan children must be adequately met. And notice orphan children. That's under consideration here. An orphan child is a child, any child, all children who are bereft or without parental care. The Greek word is orphanos, and orphanos, or an orphan or fatherless, means a child that does not have parental care. One of the parents may be living, they both may be living, but if the child does not have parental care, does not have the needs of the home, then these needs need to be supplied. James 1:27 says, "Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world." Number two, the care of orphan children is not an individual responsibility exclusively. Individuals may certainly take care of orphans, and many of them have done so, and that is fine. But it is not just for individuals exclusively. The church also has a responsibility. Acts chapter 20 and verse 35, Paul, in addressing elders, says that they are to help the weak. The word weak is from astheneo. It means those who are weak in funds, those who are poor, those who are needy. And that would certainly include orphans. Galatians 6:10 says, "As ye therefore have opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto those of the household of faith." Number 3, an orphan child's needs cannot be adequately met without his having or being a part of a home. Psalm 68:6 tells of God's care for the fatherless and widows and says he puts the solitary in families. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 4 says, "And you fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." So that parents are to take care of children. If a home is destroyed, it may be restored in a legal home. And those who are over that legal home, they are directors and guardians, and they stand in place of parents, and they are to take care and see that these children have the kind of home that they should have. Number 4, the church without any further organization cannot function as a home. A church is a church. A home is a home. Now, in some cases, there may be a situation where the elders of a congregation are also the directors of an orphan home. But as you talk to the people who deal with the legal matters, for example, the Department of Human Services, when elders are in connection with the church, they oversee the church as elders. But when they are taking care of the affairs of an orphan home, they are the directors of the orphan home and are so considered by the Department of Human Services. Number 5, the Bible does not specify the kind of home that must be used to meet the needs of orphan children. It may be a foster home, it may be a legal home, it may be a natural home. There are various kinds of homes. Number 6, homes structured like Childhaven are homes or benevolent institutions which may meet legal requirements. The Lord said, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's." And in Romans chapter 13, beginning with verse 1, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. There is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. He that resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God." And number 7, a church may contribute from its treasury to a home for orphans. When you look at 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 16, it says, "If a man or woman that believeth have widows, let them relieve them, that the church be not charged, that it may relieve them that are widows indeed." Simply stated, this passage is saying that if a man or woman have widows, then they should take care of them. Where would they take care of them? In their home. Now, if they will not take care of them, then the church would have the responsibility to take care of them. Where would the church take care of them? In a home. And for those who are widows indeed are those widows who do not have anyone to take care of them. The church would be obligated to take care of them. And what would they provide for them? They would provide for them a home. Then it is the case that it's in harmony with the Scriptures for churches of Christ to build and maintain benevolent organizations such as Boles Home or Childhaven. The next argument, number 2, if we could have chart number 2, the principle of love. This is an important principle that all of us should remember. The church is to love all men. 1 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 12. Paul writes to the brethren at Thessalonica and teaches that they should love the brethren and all men. Number 2, love means helping. We're familiar with 1 John 3, 16 through 18, and James 2, 15 and following, which says that we're not to love just in word or deed. And if someone is in need, and we will not supply that need, then certainly we're not showing love to these people who are in need. And number three, love then means helping. And it means helping more than just those who are brethren. Consider what Jesus says in Matthew 5:44 through 48. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth the rain on the just and on the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have you? Do not even the publicans the same? If ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Notice God's love. He sends the rain and the sunshine, both on the just and the unjust. And we are to love and show love. And true love loves not only those who are brethren, but it loves others as well. And we should be willing to help others who are in need. We should be willing to help orphans, and we should be willing to help widows that are in need. Thus the church should help more than just poor saints. We ought to remember to seek to follow the example of Jesus Christ. You'll notice in Mark 7:24 through 30 that Jesus healed the daughter of the Syrophoenician woman. This is not a Jew now, mind you. This is the daughter of a Syrophoenician woman. Jesus had compassion not only on the Jews, but he also had compassion on this Syrophoenician woman and her daughter. Notice also in Luke 7 that Jesus healed the servant of a centurion. Not just a Jew now, mind you, but a centurion. And notice in Matthew 14:21, Jesus feeds the 5,000, and beside those men there were women and children. Jesus was willing to feed men, women, and children. Brother Sutton's position makes fleshly Israel actually superior to spiritual Israel in the realm of benevolence. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verses 28 and 29 says that the tithes would be for the Levites, for the strangers, for the fatherless, and for the widow. That was in the Old Testament. That was the law of Moses. Their tithes would be given. Who would they help? Would they help just the Jews? No. They helped the Levites, the strangers, the fatherless, and the widow. There were the strangers, and there would be fatherless. There would be orphans, and there would be widows. Christianity is better than Judaism. Everything about Christianity is better. A theme in the book of Hebrews is the word better. With his position, fleshly Israel would have a better system of benevolence than the church would have. That is not the way it should be. The church is better. Our benevolence is better. We love not just those who love us, but we love others as well. And we're willing to help those who are strangers and the fatherless and the widow. Do we have chart number 6? Does my opponent agree with Grider or with Bingham? Is he with Grider? Is he with Bingham? Or does he have another slot? The Bible teaches, according to Brother A.C. Grider, the Bible teaches that it is a sin for the church to take money from its treasury to buy for hungry, destitute children, and those who do so would go to hell. That was Grider's position. As I've often said, Grider never did hesitate to state his position. I don't agree with it. This is a chilling position, but it is his position. W.E. Bingham said, if they were left destitute, I'd let the money be taken out of the church treasury before I'd let them starve. He certainly did not have that much coldness of heart. Friends, consider this basic principle. All passages which relate to peculiarly religious matters are passages which apply with equal force both to the church and the individual. James 1:27 says, pure religion is to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction and to keep himself unspotted from the world. I'm maintaining tonight that that applies both to the individual and the church, and that the church has an obligation to help those who are orphans and those who are widows in their need. Could we have chart number 12, please? Consider James 1:27 and 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 16. Notice, James 1:27 says to visit the fatherless and the widows. If to visit the fatherless is exclusively individual, as many on Brother Sutton's side allege, and not only would you have the fatherless being exclusively individual, but you would have the widows being exclusively individual, because those two are joined together, fatherless and widows, and is a coordinating conjunction linking two grammatical parts of equal importance. So these are linked together, the fatherless and the widow. And if it is the case that the fatherless is exclusively individual, then it would also have to be the case that the widow would be exclusively individual. But notice what 1 Timothy 5:16 says, that if a man or woman have widows, let them relieve them, that the church be not charged, that it may relieve them that are widows indeed. So the church has a responsibility in 1 Timothy 5:16 to help those who are widows. It's obvious then that James 1:27 is not exclusively individual. Can we have chart number 13, please? This chart deals with the word visit. James 1:27 uses the word visit. This word visit is important and significant. The Greek word episkeptomai means to see, to inspect with the eye, to see a need, and then to supply that need. It does not mean to just look at orphan children and then go away. It doesn't mean to go to where they are and then go away. It's not talking about a casual visit in that sense. This word visit means to see, to inspect with the eye, to see the need, and to supply that need. And it applies with equal force to the fatherless and widows. But if it is exclusively individual for one, then it would be for the other. But 1 Timothy 5:16 shows that it's not exclusively for the widow, therefore it's not exclusively individual for the fatherless. Number 14. Notice these two are false statements. A church may pray for wisdom. A church may be a doer of the word. A church may practice pure religion. A church may keep unspotted from the world. You'll notice that these are statements taken especially from the first chapter of the book of James. James says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not. May a church pray for wisdom? Why, it certainly can. Brother Sutton has admitted that the church can pray for wisdom. Did he get it from this passage? Well, this passage teaches it, but someone says, well, maybe he gets it from another passage. But even if he gets it from another passage, it's obvious that James 1:5 is not exclusively individual. Otherwise, only the individual could pray for wisdom. A church may be a doer of the word. James says, but be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any man be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is likened to a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh in the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. May the church be a doer of the word? I believe certainly so. May it practice pure religion? I believe certainly so. May the church keep itself unspotted from the world? I believe it certainly can. Number 16. Not only do you have the statement about peculiarly religious matters applying both to the individual and the church in connection with James 1:27, but consider some other passages as well. Chart number 16 says all passages which relate to peculiarly religious matters are passages which apply with equal force both to the church and to the individual. 2 John 9 is a passage which relates to peculiarly religious matters. It says, "Whosoever transgresseth," literally goeth onward, "and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ, hath not God. He that abideth in the doctrine hath the Father and the Son. If there come one unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. For he that biddeth him Godspeed is partaker of his evil deeds." Therefore, 2 John 9 is a passage which applies with equal force both to the church and to the individual. Consider on the same way of hermeneutics and logic, 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. "All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness." Is that just for the individual? Or is it for the individual and the church? It's for both of them. Consider Jude 3, "Contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints." Is that just for the individual? Or is that also for the church? It's for both of them. Let's go now to chart number 50. Here are the needs of an orphan child. A child needs shelter, a child needs food, and a child needs clothing. A child needs education, a child needs supervision, medical care, entertainment, and recreation. All of these are basic needs for orphans. When you consider the church helping and taking care of these needs, how does the church do it? It does it in building orphan homes, taking care of them in orphan homes. That is one scriptural way. They may be placed in foster homes, or they may be placed in natural homes. There are various homes, kinds of homes, that they may be placed. But this is the work of the home, to provide food, shelter, and clothing, education, supervision, medical care, entertainment, and recreation. Parents do it in legal homes. Guardians, those who are custodians of children, do it in legal homes. Here we have chart number 51. Brother Sutton has given us some idea about the kind of home that he would endorse. And we've referred to this as Brother Sutton's home. He said in answer to question number 2 earlier on in the discussion, if such were needed, the church, talking about if the church, may choose to provide a place, necessities, and personnel in caring for them. Brother Sutton has said that the church may provide a place, so the church can build and maintain a place. The necessities. And I wonder if he's considered what all would be involved in those necessities for an orphan child. Things like food, shelter, clothing, education, supervision, medical care, entertainment, recreation. How would that be done? It's going to be done in a home. He said it could provide for the personnel, but he limited that home to a poor saints' orphan home. It would not be for orphans generally. It would only be for poor saints' orphans. I'd like to know where they have built a home like that. Would there be 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them, 40 of them, 50 of them? Where would there be homes like this? And notice also what he's already willing to build. He's willing to provide the place. That would be the ground and the building. He's willing to provide the necessities. He's willing to provide the personnel. He's gotten way down the list, but he's put a limit on it to the poor saints' orphans. That is a limit on it that we would not place on it. Certainly not. The next chart, please, number 52. There are 3 divine institutions. They are the home, civil government, and the church. Each one has its distinctive responsibilities. The church can help in a natural home that's in need. Surely we would agree on that. A church can help a natural home, one that needs help. But that home might be lost, in which case that home can be restructured in a legal home or an orphan home. This new home is a home that the church may help also. If it can help the original home, it can also help the new home. Can we have the next chart, please, number 53? Brother Sutton believes it would be right to buy a preacher's house. The church can buy that, take care of it, maintain it, but he's limiting his aid for orphans to only those orphans that are poor saints. That narrows it down considerably. Brother Sutton then would endorse the position that the church could take money from its treasure to buy fertilizer for grass on the preacher's yard, but he would oppose the church taking money from its treasury to buy milk for one who is a non-saint orphan. I do not believe that that's the kind of Christianity that the Lord wants us to have. Many times people can see various things, but they cannot see other things. Brother Sutton sees a church building in Hebrews 10:25. The passage says, not forsaking the assembling of yourselves together. We can see a church building there. It is authorized, but it's not specified. We can see a Bible class in Acts 20:28. Talks about the elders have the oversight of a congregation and to see that it's fed. And so elders decide to feed the flock. One of the ways is in Sunday school. We can see Bible classes in Acts 20:28. We can see debates in Jude verse 3, which says contend for the faith. We can see debates in that. We can see a located preacher in 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 2. The elders again are to feed the flock. One of the ways that they do it is many times to have a located preacher. We can see a located preacher in 1 Peter 5:2, authorized but not specified. We can see a singing school in Ephesians 5:19. Ephesians 5:19 says, speaking to yourselves in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. And we can see the need for people to get together and learn how to sing. We can see that in Ephesians 5:19. But a lot of people cannot see a home for orphans in James 1:27. That says that pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction and to keep himself unspotted from the world. My friends, the orphan home is not a missionary society. They are vastly different. A missionary society is an ecclesiasticism. A home is a home. A missionary society replaces nothing that God has established which has been lost. But an orphan home replaces the lost home. A missionary society robs the church of its autonomy, but an orphan home does not. It does not take anything away from the church. It simply stands in the same place as does a private home. A missionary society has no scriptural right to exist. A home has the scriptural right to exist, and an orphan home has the scriptural right to exist. Number 5, the missionary society is wrong, and the individual should not give to it. But an individual may give to a home, either a legal home or an orphan home. A missionary society is an association of churches. An orphan home is an association of children. And so the missionary society and the orphan home are different, vastly different. We are to help those who are orphans. We are to help those who are in need, and we ought to comply with the law of the land to do it. When you get 6 children or more together to take care of it legally, you're going to have to become a child care institution. You must be licensed, you must be chartered, you must be incorporated. All of that meets the legal requirements so that you can take care of orphan children. Let's do our part to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and let's encourage others to do the same also. Thank you.